What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. Today we're going to talk about the big three and what I think about them and why I don't do them. Now, a lot of you are new viewers. Some of you already know why I don't do them. But the Bios3 channel is growing at such a rate that a lot of people are not going back and watching those older videos. There's like over 500 something videos I have up now. So I get questions like, why? Why don't you bench? Why don't you squat? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Well, one of the reasons why I don't do these things is I don't have to do them anymore. Okay, I've actually paid my dues over the last 24 years in the gym, going really heavy and pounding my body, ruining my joints, to now where if I don't have to get under a 300 or 400 or 500 pound squat, I'm not going to. So let's first back up. What do I think of the big three? I think they definitely have their place in training. They are perfect for beginners, for building up that functional strength and overall the overall strength of just about every muscle group as a whole through just movement. You know, they're basic movements, compound movements that use pretty much, even if you're benching, you're still using your legs, you're pushing through your legs, your abs are contracted, you know, your lats help you with, you know, the negative of the bench press. I mean, everything is getting used. When you do chin-ups, well, that's not one of the big three, but you do chin-ups, everything's getting worked with that too. Barbell rows, same thing. So there are compound, heavy, basic movements that I feel work everything in the body during, especially if you're training to failure. If you're not training to failure, you're still working everything, but it's not to the same degree where everything is contracting and working together. Now, do I think that they're necessary to build a great physique? I do feel like squats and benches are necessary. Deadlifts, no, I never did them. I couldn't figure out why I had these back problems when I was younger. They hurt. The deadlift hurt. Whatever it was about the deadlift hurt my back. Now, fast forward about 15 years, and I go to a chiropractor for the first time because I'd hurt my neck, and they do a scan on me and find out I have this disc that doesn't sit right in between my vertebrae and my lower back. When he looked at it, he said, "This doesn't look like it's been pushed out." He said, "It looks like it's been there all the time." Now, I didn't know that. I didn't have that knowledge when I was a teenager and I started training, but he said, the doctor said it was pretty much congenital. I had it my whole life. Just never knew it. I wasn't doing anything to aggravate it. But the deadlift, I guess the way that your body tilts in the deadlift hurt. So that was telling me, like, basically something was wrong. Now, I look at it like this. Pain is your body's way of telling you something's wrong, okay? Whether or not you listen to it or how you interpret it, that's up to you. And it could mean different things, but if you don't listen, eventually pain leads to death. That's what happens. You die. You fuck up hard enough, you die after pain, period. So, that being said, I haven't deadlifted pretty much my whole entire lifting career. I maybe done it maybe half a dozen times to where I tried to go heavy. I don't think I ever went over 405 my entire life. But what's interesting is that I can do barbell rows with 405 for about 7 to 10 reps. And 10 when I was younger, 7 when I was probably about 25 or so. And they don't give me any problem as long as I stay in that kind of 45-degree angle and I don't bend over anymore. I think it's from the bottom where I'm bent over to where I pull into that straight position where it puts the pressure on that disc. However, 2013, getting ready for the Delaware, I was doing barbell rows with 365, and I was hitting 8 to 10 reps before I was starting to fail. And I actually pick them up, and I'd step back out of the rack, bend over, do them, because I don't like to pick them up off the floor, again, because it hurts my back like a deadlift. After the last rep, I went to put the bar back in the rack. As I stepped forward, something popped in my hip, which pushed my lower back out. A disc had popped out in my lower back. So now, you know, I have an extreme pain. I'm like 6 weeks out, 7 weeks out from a show. Go to the chiro, get put back together, continue training, and try to find out a way to not hurt my back again. So that kept me restricted to certain machines. Dumbbell rows, certain days I could, certain days I couldn't. But that lower back injury was a result of just, it wasn't stupidity. I didn't do anything wrong. It was just a freak thing that happened. And, you know, my hip, I've had issues with for a long time. I used to be a professional wrestler. My hip comes out of place very frequently. I have to go to the chiropractor and have it put back into place. When that hip comes out of joint, it causes a chain reaction that goes all the way up to your neck. And there'll be days where I wake up and my neck hurts because my hip is actually out of place. In my neck, I had whiplash many times as a professional wrestler. So basically, all the way down my spine, if I don't take care of it, it gets jacked up. When I was 18, I didn't have to do that. But now, you know, at 38, you got to pay attention to these things because you screw something out bad enough, you've got it for life. You're done. That's it. You're fucked. As far as squatting goes, that left squats out. Now, I'd been making a good, you know, some good leg headway with my leg development, and I was kind of worried that having the squats would actually hinder that. I was forced to do the leg press for the rest of my prep, which was probably about 7 weeks, 7 or 8 weeks to the show. Lo and behold, I got better leg development from the leg press than I did with the squat. And I'd always had it stuck in my head, squat, 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 squat. That's a man's exercise. That's just strong. Now, you know, I'm a bodybuilder. It doesn't matter how strong I am. As long as I get those fibers stimulated. And arguably, and not even arguably, hands down, 2013, when I stepped on stage at the Delaware as well as the Sean Ray, I had better leg development than I had ever had my entire life. That was due to the leg press. So now, why am I going to squat if it causes pressure on my lower back, which hurts my knees, and my leg development's not as good? There's no point in doing it just to be doing it to say, hey, I can do it. Fuck, you know what I've done in the last 20 years? I don't need to say I've done shit anymore. So at this point, it's not working, it's dangerous, discard it. The bench press. Man, I love the bench press. I was a strong bencher pretty much right from the beginning, as soon as I learned good form and how to power that bar up. And I progressed so fast at the bench press that, I mean, I went from benching like 225 for 1 or 2 to benching 500 within a year. Yeah, well, of course I went on steroids at that point too, but most people don't put that much weight on their bench ever, let alone, you know, just from a steroid cycle. Many years I was playing with heavy weights. No problem, you know, a little joint pain here and there, a little bit of joint pain in the wrist and stuff, whatever. Until I strained my pec in 2005 for the first time. And it stayed pretty messed up for a while. It got a little bit better. But I noticed the flat bench, every time I went back on there, I would strain this band that went from the inside all the way to my shoulder, right across the top of my pec. A shoulder injury that retired me from professional wrestling leaves this shoulder screwed up to the point where it doesn't have as much power. It's actually in a different position, and there's really nothing I could do about it without surgery. And as I press, the left side actually takes more of the weight than the right side, which is weaker, as I press the bar. So I stick with dumbbells now, but as I press that bar, it puts more pressure on here, and it pulled it a few times. I'd rest, I'd be stupid and go back to it. Last year, again, before the show, it's probably, I don't know, it was in March, the show was in August. I was benching, my buddy Greg Furnak was benching, and he's a power lifter and strongman competitor. I was feeling good, and I said, all right, I said, you know what? Let's go up. Let's see. You know, let's do 405 today because I haven't done that in a while, and I'm feeling pretty good. So during the warm-ups with 315, I came down on about the 7th or 8th rep, with Kari spotting me, and I heard a pop. And she heard it too, and I immediately racked the weight. I felt it. Couldn't feel anything, and it was just kind of numb, but it wasn't really swollen. Well, that band again pulled across the top of my pec. So, well, fuck, I probably popped a piece of scar tissue. That band again. This band was hurting this time. So I went to the massage therapist. She worked on it for like an hour to get it to finally release. After the release, I got violently ill for like 3 days. 104-degree fever. I mean, it was just so sick, which actually had released the toxins from the pec, which made me ill. And wasn't aware of it, but it hurt. I couldn't bench. I'm like, this fucking sucks. I'll stick to machines. I just got to get to the show. Got to do what I got to do. I get to the show. Now, mind you, I was pretty bulked out. So, I mean, pretty much I was smooth everywhere. You couldn't see a lot of definition on me when I popped that pec. I get to the show and I look at some pictures and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with the bottom of my pec? Around the bottom of it, there's like a piece missing. I'm like, what the fuck? And the more I opened it up and looked at it, I'm like, I tore my pec benching. That's what happened. That's what that pop was. Is my pecs have always been very symmetrical. If you look up to 2013, my pecs are perfectly symmetrical, full, round, thick, striated, thick top to bottom. I mean, my pecs are one of my better body parts. Well, now not only do I have a torn pec, but I have a hurt back. And they occurred, you know, doing those big, heavy compound movements. So now, either I keep doing them and fuck myself up permanently, which is stupid, or I find a way to train around them, which that's what you do. When you have experience, you train around them. You don't quit training. You don't go in there and fuck yourself up till you wind up in the hospital. You train around them. So now I train around them. So I'm trying to find other ways, like I'm using the occlusion training for my legs right now. So I'm not doing any leg presses. I'm not doing squats, but my legs are maintaining size and actually getting a little bigger using the occlusion training with leg extensions and leg curls. So I'm trying to find new ways to, you know, maintain, not so much grow, but maintain while I'm not doing these things that hurt my body. It's kind of a new phase in my training because I'm getting a little older. I'm not old, but training-wise, I mean, I've been training 23 years. That's old as training gym time. So most people within 23 years have had an injury or, you know, something that put them out for a while, if not permanently. And I've had several and still trying to train around them. So at this point, it doesn't make any sense for me to do them anymore. And I don't have to do them to maintain my physique. I don't need to maintain a massive, huge physique or a shredded, aesthetic bra physique. I maintain a fit physique, doing what I do, train high intensity, train low volume. I'm in the gym and I'm out. It takes a very little of my time. So these guys that are all out there going, dude, I do FYM because you don't have to do the other one. It takes so much time to count your carbs and stuff and eat all those foods and make your food. I just fit this in because it's faster and easier. Well, faster. I'm in and out of the gym in like 30 minutes. So I'd say that the high intensity training is much more efficient than the high volume training as far as at least maintenance. And that's where I'm at now. And that's where I'll probably be at until, hopefully I don't get stupid again and be like, hey, I feel good today. Let me see if I can squat. And all of a sudden, I'm squatting 225 and it feels good. And then 315 feels good. And then 405 buries me and puts me in a wheelchair. So hopefully nothing like that happens because, I'm too old for that shit. I want to keep training. Bios3training@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. Do the big three. www.bios3training.com is the blog, and we're the big three bicep, and we're out.